Hi there, thanks for clicking on the video. So today's video, we're going to be showing you what happens on a Part 2 driving test. This is the driving test that you need to pass if you want to become a driving instructor. So when you first meet the examiner, they'll want to see your driving licence. Make sure you have that with you so they can see that. They'll check the photo on it to make sure that looks like you. Check your address to see if that's up to date. And also check your signature to see if that matches with the form that you'll need to sign at the beginning of the test. Now once you've done that, you'll walk out the test centre with the examiner and it asks you to do an eyesight check to get you to read a number plate of a vehicle from 26.5 metres away on the new style number plate or 27.5 metres on an old style number plate. So once you've done your eyesight check, the examiner will then briefly explain how the test works. So the test will last about 1 hour, include 20 minutes of independent driving and driving on various different roads. So it could be some motorways, some rural roads, some town roads, a bit of a mixture of everything. So yes, you would get motorways on the Part 2 test quite likely. And then there'll be 5 show me tell me questions. 3 tell me, 2 show me. And there'll also be 2 reversing manoeuvres and possibly an emergency stop, which happens in 1 in 3 tests. So, with that being said, the examiners will now start to ask you the tell me questions. They're going to ask you 3 of those, remember. So, let's give you an example. So, they could say to you, tell me how you would check the tyres to ensure they have sufficient tread depth and their condition is safe for use on the road. And your reply to that should be, there should be at least 1.6 millimetres of tread around the central 3/4 of the tyre around the entire circumference. And there should also be no cuts or bulges in the tyres or no foreign objects stuck in the tyres such as nails. So that'd be a brilliant answer for that question. So next question, let's give you an example. Tell me how you would know if there's a problem with the ABS. So that's the anti-lock braking system. If there's a problem with the anti-lock braking system, a warning light would come on back my dashboard. Brilliant. That's the second question answered correctly. So third question. Tell me how you would check the brakes are working before you start a journey. Well, I'd press the brakes and they shouldn't feel spongy or slack. I would also check them just as I set off. Just pressing the brakes as I set off, making sure the car slows and brakes and the car does not pull to one side while I'm braking. Brilliant, that's those first 3 questions answered perfectly. The 2 show me questions will be asked while you're driving. So, the examiner will now say to you, please drive on when you're ready. Show me how you turn on the rear demister. Okay, that's fine. Right, so that's just going to be pressing that button there. Okay, thank you. And then turn it back off. And then can you now show me how you'd use the cruise control? So I'm just going to press the button and set the cruise control to 60. So cruise control is one of the show me questions they could ask on the Part 2 test, but they wouldn't ask them to do on the learner test. I'd like to then pull up on the left, just behind that next parked vehicle. Don't worry if you're blocking the driveway. So mirrors, no need to signals, no one behind, no one ahead to benefit from my signals. Being careful not to mount the curb like the vehicle in front. And then you secure the car and wait for further instructions from the examiner. They get you to pull up on the left like this several times to demonstrate your ability to stop and start. So drive on when you're ready. So checking mirrors. I'm going to do a left blind spot check. There are some driveways there. It's not always needed the left blind spot check, but I will do it here. And then making sure we check that right blind spot for that parked vehicle in the blind spot on the driveway. It's all looking safe to go. Nice controlled speed as we come out. And there was no need to signal there because there was no one to benefit. To pull up on the left in a safe place, I'm just going to be near that telegraph pole. So mirrors. I'm going to do a signal just because I'm on a bit of a bend. So the situation could change quite quickly. Even though there's nothing there initially, it could change very quickly, the situation. Handbrake first, then neutral, then cancel the signal. So drive on when you're ready. So I'm not going to do a left blind spot check here. It's not really needed because there's not really any driveways. They're not really an issue. So left mirror, middle mirror, right blind spot, and then right signal just before you pull away. We don't want to be sitting there with a right signal on, not going anywhere. Just want to signal just before you pull away. And again, the reason I decided to signal there is because it's on a bit of a bend, so I felt like the situation could change quite quickly. And then let's see if we can find another place to pull up on the left. So examiner's going to ask you to pull up on the left in a safe place. So mirrors, signal left for the oncoming vehicle, and there's actually a single yellow line here. Now what I'd suggest you do if this happens is just stop and just check the sign like you would do normally to see when it's in operation. Monday to Saturday, 8:30 AM to 6 PM. So obviously you can't see those signs while you're moving. It's too difficult. You don't be looking at the signs when you're moving. So I just now at this point say to the examiner, oh sorry, I didn't realise. I've now stopped and seen I'm not allowed to park at this time of day. And the examiner would probably say to you, that's fine, just drive on when you're ready. Because bear in mind, you are allowed to, you are allowed to stop on the single yellow lines. You're not allowed to wait. So what you were doing there, you could say that wasn't waiting, even though we had a bit of chat about it, so that's a bit different on test. You'd just be stopping for 2 seconds. But basically, I would just explain to the examiner you've realised you're not allowed to wait there. As long as you've shown that knowledge, then you drive on. So let's pull up on the left here. So mirrors, signal left, and then coming in near the curb, getting past the driveway, and then stopping. Do a bit of a hill start here. So handbrake neutral, cancel signal. Thank you. Drive on when you're ready. So just checking my left mirror in case anything coming up there, but mainly my middle and right. My right mirror is going to help me more because it sees better down the hill. And then signal on, just so I can't see over the brow of the hill. And of course when doing the hill, so it shouldn't be rolling. On a learner test, they might get away with a little bit of a roll, but on a part 2 test, you really shouldn't be rolling if you're an experienced driver. And you should be using your handbrake as per the highway code. You should avoid doing the thing where you put your foot brake on, then take the handbrake off, and then switch your feet, if you know what I mean. So you avoid doing that. That's not what recommended in the highway code. And it's not what you should be teaching the learners either. Then take the next road on the left into the pub. It's just after the building. So middle mirror, left signal. And then nice and slow, because we are entering a pub. Could be quite a lot of activity in this pub. Keeping to the left, just give room for any vehicles coming out to get past us. And then now the examiner's going to say, I'd now like to drive forwards into any convenient bay in the car park. So I think I'm going to go for one over there. So I'm just going to check my mirrors and take it nice and wide. And we're going to go for the one, not next to the black van, the one just next to that. So checking my blind spot for anyone that might be overtaking. Just taking it nice and slow so I can line it up. Although you wouldn't fail for having to do a correction on the mover, you'll get a minor fault for it. You want to obviously see if you can do it really, really well. Demonstrate really good car control and good steering accuracy. So, I'm just going to secure the car. Just want to check that I'm in. I'm just going to open the door briefly, that's fine. Just checking it's safe to do it. Yeah, and that's fine, I'm inside the line there. And that side there, I could always dip the mirror down to double check that. But I'm quite happy I'm in, because I'm a good distance from this line, so I'm going to be in that line. So the examiner will then say, are you happy with your position? You will then hopefully say, yes, I'm happy, because you've checked it and it's all looking good. So the examiner will now say, reverse out of the bay when it's safe to, and then we'll head out of the car park, please. So, into reverse gear, checking all round. Now notice I can't see to the right very much, due to the van blocking my view. So that's probably the main hazard. I'm just going to let it roll back. I'm just going to start steering immediately, because there's no parked vehicles next to me. And my vision is really restricted due to this van, remember, so I'm just coming really slow, constantly checking round. doing what you might call a 6-point check. So right shoulder, right mirror, ahead, middle mirror, left blind spot. Particularly the emphasis on the blind spots here. And just watching for this curb behind me. I don't want to be reversing into the curb again. Not necessarily fail, but it's probably going to be a minor, and you don't want to be, you want to show really high standards to the examiner. So again, nice push-pull steering, as we're doing all our steering. And then out the car park, we're going to be turning left, please. So middle mirror, left signal. Could you pull up on the right, just behind that parked vehicle? So this could be another manoeuvre. They could ask you to pull up on the right like this, making sure you pull up in a safe place, and then now I'd like to reverse back for 2 to 3 car lengths, keeping reasonably close to the curb. So let's go for that. So into reverse gear, checking all round, particularly important to have the right blind spot here because there's a driveway there, and shortly I'm going to be reversing across the driveway. It's all clear ahead and it's clear behind, so I'm now going to start reversing back. I'm just going to bring it a bit closer to the curb, keeping the speed really controlled. I'm just here having the clutch down and using the brakes to control it because it's downhill. And this is not coasting. So you need to have the clutch down here, of course, to control the speed of the car. Because some people, when they do the Part 2 test, they try to think a bit too much about being like a learner and thinking, oh, I shouldn't be coasting and things like that, but this isn't coasting. Or also they think of things like, oh, I've got to change down gears 1 at a time, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But that's not true. You can skip gears on modern cars. So now reverse back for the required distance, and now drive on when you're ready. So again, I'm just going to check the right blind spot here. Go to the driveway. So again, not always needed that blind spot check. The main one is these mirrors and that blind spot, the left blind spot. So I am going to choose to signal here because I am effectively changing lanes as I pull out, switching to the other side of the road. And that's now my 2 manoeuvres done. Now they may well do the reversing the road on a slightly busier road. I just chose that road just because the opportunity came up. I was hoping to do a parallel park, but it wasn't a suitable for parked vehicle on this road. And a bit of a tricky situation with this white car. So I'm just going to reverse back for them, checking blind spots and reversing back slowly. Showing really good awareness. We're not looking to rush it because someone could be reversing out their driveway. Just really nice controlled speed. Just keeping on these mirrors to make sure we stay near the curb. And then into first gear. And then it's all clear around us to pull away again, so off we go. And just coming up a bit further around the corner is actually where the actual test centre is. This is the Redhill test centre. So road bearing round to the left here, so mirrors. Using our brakes to slow, watching a puddle. So test centre is just on the right there. The Redhill aerodrome is what it is. So look as far as I can around the bend, some nice push-pull steering.